told you, it's not my kid. She keeps pushing me around, but...
We're on.
What?
Right now, we're on.
Like, right now?
Right now.
We're live.
Yes, right now.
All right. How's it going here? Ron Burgundy for City of Ottawa News. Our top story is we've got a cold front coming in from the west, and it's going to get chilly here, so bundle up like this little guy here. So our city reporter, Veronica Corningstone, has that story, who's much less attractive than I am, but we'll see how she does. Over to you, Veronica.
Thanks, Ron. Veronica Corningstone, reporting live from Robinson Park. Today I'm here to talk to some of the locals about the upcoming cold front coming this fall and what they're doing to keep warm. There's one right now. Alright, so we are approaching a local who calls Robinson Park home. Excuse me, sir. Can I please talk to you for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sure you probably don't know this because you don't own a TV, but there's an upcoming cold front. So what are you doing to keep warm this fall?
Well, no, I have my leaves. I got my den. I got my booze. I don't know. I'm all right.
Okay, well, let me explain this to you slowly, because I'm sure you won't understand, but it's going to be getting very, very cold in the upcoming days, and are you sure that's enough to keep you warm?
Well, yeah, the leaves, they do their job. They warm me up good.
But are you sure that's enough to keep you warm, even in this dirty, smelly, stinky ditch?
Well, it's not that bad. I don't have anything else. Don't make fun of me. That's all I got.
Are you sure you don't want some nice taxpayers to take you into their homes, even though you stink and you're a big stinky hobo?
I stink? What's that supposed to mean? Get out of here! Get the camera on my
Great news report, Veronica, except I must say that outfit was quite tasteless, not your color. So I think the main thing we should learn from this is that avoid hobos. They're quite dangerous people. They're also filthy. You could get a disease just by being near them. So just for you little children out there and any parents watching, don't tip them. Just stay away from them because they are bad. All I gotta say, one last thing, stay classy.
Mom, the homeless person attacked someone on TV. It's dangerous out there.
Well, guess you're not going outside today.
That was an exaggerated demonstration of how the media shapes our ideas and attempts to make us think of the world in a certain way. In this case, it was pretty obvious that the news was trying to make us think that all homeless people are dangerous and out to get us, but the educated viewer will realize that there's more to the story that may or may not have been shown. This idea of making the world seem like a more dangerous place than it really is called mean world syndrome.
Mean world syndrome is a theory that stems from a principle called cultivation theory, a term coined by George Gerbner, a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. Gerbner suggested that a lot of what we think we know, we've never actually experienced firsthand. We tend to believe that everything we hear from our superiors in the media is what's true. Many big corporations own the media and try to project an agenda on us. Gerbner also notes that these large conglomerates often have nothing significant to tell, but plenty to sell. So how much of what we see on television do we really believe? Is the world really as scary as we think it is?
When people watch TV, listen to the radio, or read a newspaper, they tend to think of it as just entertainment or programming. However, it's much more than that. There's a repetition of themes that run through all facets of the media that shape our conception of reality. One of the most prominent recurring themes being violence. Studies have shown that being exposed to TV violence from infancy results in two consequences. One, that violent programming reinforces the worst fears and apprehensions, leading us to being more paranoid. And two, that we become desensitized to violence and believe it's a normal thing in our world. These studies also give value to how much TV you watch, showing that the more you watch, the more afraid you'll become. Even when it comes to doing something like going outside in your own neighborhood at night.
As you can tell, the mean world syndrome induces a sense of vulnerability and dependence. This feeling of dependence is usually followed by a demand for the government to respond. This is why election campaigns are usually rich with promises for more jails, harsher punishment, and more executions. So why is this relevant? Well, you have to ask the question, who funds these election campaigns? And the answer is corporations. The same ones that broadcast you this violence over the television.
Today, 7 American men own the TV industry, the movie industry, the printed press, the book publishing companies, as well as the recording industry. Now watch how fast I can move locations. Most of these industries are bundled into huge media conglomerates run by the 7 following people: Gerald Levin, Michael Eisner, Edward Bronfman Jr., Edward Bronfman Sr., Summer Redstone, Dennis Dammerman, as well as Peter Chernin. These 7 men alone own tons of companies.
Cultivation theory is an approach developed by George Gerbner at the University of Pennsylvania. The cultivation approach suggests that mass media is a socializing agent and looks at whether or not television viewers come to believe the television version of reality the more they watch it. Cultivation theory looks at the effects that television has on a long-term scale, suggesting that it is small, gradual, indirect, cumulative, and significant. There is much emphasis on the effects of television viewing on the attitudes of the viewer rather than the behavior.
Gerbner and his colleagues believe that watching television could induce a general mindset about violence in the world. He says that people who watch television are likely to be more influenced by the ways in which the world is framed. He also went on to say that television drama has a small but significant influence on attitudes, beliefs, and judgment of the viewer.
So do you follow the media? And if so, why or why not?
Well, I do, but I don't believe everything that's on the media, on the news. It's just someone's opinion.
Okay. So what would you say your view of the world is based on what the media news shows you?
Based on the media, I'd say, there's good apples and bad apples, but right now it seems like there's a lot more bad apples than good apples.
So why would you say that?
Well, there's so much negative connotation on the media. Everything's bad, murders here, killings there. It's just horrible.
Okay, so seeing on this on a daily basis, would you say that you feel generally safe?
Based on that, no, I would not.
No. So is it just what they show you, or do you have personal experience yourself to back that up?
Well, I'd say mostly it's from the media, but I do have a couple personal experiences, but I'd just rather not talk about those.
Okay, so you don't feel comfortable sharing those with us?
I do not, no, I'm sorry.
So, okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, yeah?
Good. Do you watch the news?
No.
How come?
Well, all they show me on the news is negative stuff, and I feel like there are a lot of positive things that they're not broadcasting.
So, do you follow the media or the news? If so, why or why not?
Yeah, I follow it because it's good to know what's going on, like, in the world and in your community, I guess.
Okay, so what kind of news do you watch?
I watch CNN and CBC mostly, and really not much else.
Okay. So, what would you say that your worldview is based on what the media news shows you?
I'd say overall, it's average right now. I mean, there's a lot of screwed up stuff going on, especially in like Middle Eastern countries where there's conflict, so I wouldn't say it's perfect.
So, you would say that they do focus on a negative aspects more than positive?
Oh, definitely, yeah. You're getting a majority negative stories on the news.
Okay, so would you say that you feel safe as a person knowing what the media and news shows you?
I'd say for the most part in Canada, yeah, but obviously traveling abroad, depending on what country you're in, that would change.
Okay. Would you say that you think traveling abroad is unsafe because of personal experience or just because of stuff that you've seen?
Well, again, depending on what country it is, it could be totally okay, but definitely in any country where there's conflict, I would say I wouldn't go because of what the news is showing.
All right, thanks.
Excuse me, sir. Do you watch the news? Sir? If you're gonna ignore me, we can just end this interview. Sir! Hey! I got a question! So there you have it. Living proof of mean world syndrome. You can tell by the way the interviewees responded that there does seem to be a dominant view of the world being negative.
In a time where media is around us at all times, to the point where it sometimes seems inescapable, mean world syndrome doesn't only exist, but it's thriving. It may seem as though the world is a dark place, and that stepping outside even poses some type of danger. But you have to remember, you only feel that way because you've been conditioned to think that since you were a child, and that corporations trying to influence you have nothing to tell but a whole lot to sell.